So, Voiceless Voice is finally in Master Duel. Don't know what took Konami so long, but hey, at least better late than never, I suppose. So let's go over all of the basic combos that you'll need to know for this deck in order to play this deck in ranked and to learn this deck. And we're gonna start with the most simplest one-card combo in the deck, which is just Low. Low is one of the most important cards in your deck. It's your main starter, and it fulfills a lot of roles that I'll get to. I guess I'll explain them during the course of the combo. So first, normal summon Low, and if you don't already have it, you will place Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. When Low is special or normal summon, you get to place one of these Voiceless Voice spell traps. And with a Barrier, you're going to use its effect. This is the one card combo to pretend the other cards in my hand don't exist. And you're going to add a Saffira. With Saffira, you're going to pitch it to send the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, the ritual spell, quote unquote the ritual spell, and then you're going to add Skull Guardian to hand. Now, here's the thing, that the majority of the time you ritual summon with this deck, you're not going to be using this ritual spell as like the actual ritual spell. This is more of a card that you need. This is like an engine requirement that you need to use to fulfill the effects of other cards in the deck. Like, this is just a card you're seesawing between dumping to the grave and then adding back to your deck with various Voiceless Voice effects of like different cards. But yeah, mainly the main way you're gonna really ritual summon is by using Saffira's in-grave effect, because you ditch this and you added a ritual monster, and now you can banish this to special summon the ritual monster that you just searched, the Skull Guardian. And we can use Low, because Low can be used as the entire tribute for a light ritual monster that's water or dragon, which we only run water and dragon light ritual monsters in our deck. So you're gonna special summon the Skull Guardian, and then when Skull Guardian is special summon, a light ritual monster is special summon, you can summon back the Low from the grave, and then a Skull Guardian effect. Because this is just a one card combo, the card that we add off of the Skull Guardian isn't gonna matter for the rest of the combo. It's just, you can choose to like add Sauravis as targeting protection, although I'll get into later why this isn't necessary, because we already get a lot of targeting protection from this continuous spell, the Barrier of the Voiceless. Or you can add another Saffira as follow-up for a next turn, and so on. So let's add a Saffira for follow-up, for example, and then the Low summons itself back. And now that you control both Low and a light ritual monster, your opponent can only target the Skull Guardian for attacks. The Skull Guardian gets buffed by 25-50 because you control Low, so it's quite big. And then your opponent cannot target any light monster you control with card effects. So neither of these can be controlled with card effects. They can only attack Skull Guardian they can only attack Skull Guardian. They can't attack the Low. So this board is already kind of sticky. And then of course, Skull Guardian is an Omni Negate while you control Low as well. So this is just the one card combo, and you can end this here. Since if you only have the one card combo, then there's a good chance the other 4 cards in your hand can be like non-engine and hand traps. So like this is fine. Or you can continue with the one card combo by doing one extra step, and that's by linking these two off into a Dynamondo. So Dynamondo, it has a removal effect on a turn you summon it. But obviously, if it's turn 1, you're not going to use its removal effect because your opponent probably doesn't have anything on board. But yeah, then you pass turn, okay, and then during your opponent's draw phase, you will use Dynamondo to tribute itself, and then summon back the Skull Guardian. And then because the Skull Guardian was summoned, you can summon back the Low, and because it is now a new turn, you can use Low's effect again to place another Voiceless Voice spell trap face up. And what you're going to place this time is the trap, Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. So what does Radiance do? So it has 2 effects in the main phase. It's a main phase only, so it's like branded beast in that sense. But so one of the effects is you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual monsters and then destroy them. So you can just use this as a pop. Destroy your opponent's card. You don't destroy your own card. You just send this to the grave to pop your opponent's cards. Or you can use its first effect, which is shuffle one light ritual monster or one ritual spell from your hand or graveyard into the deck, and then you can add or special summon a voiceless monster from deck. So usually you might want to use the first effect in this situation with this one card combo. So you're gonna shuffle back a ritual spell, which in this case you're gonna shuffle back the prayer that we just done with Saffira turn 1. So this is what I mean about how you're just using the prayer to fulfill other effects in your deck, and then you can you can choose Sauravis, and you can special summon Sauravis to Dragon Stage directly from your deck. And what this Sauravis does is, when your opponent activates an effect, you can return this card to your hand, and then you can special summon a light ritual monster from your hand or deck. And you're going to summon Sauravis. So now you get Sauravis on the field directly. And now Sauravis is a Solemn Warning. It's like the opposite of High King Caesar, where Caesar negates effects that special summon. Sauravis negates special summons that don't start at chain. So like, you know, some like Cyber Dragon or Chaos Monsters or like Link Monsters and Extra Deck Monsters, stuff like that. And then negates them, and then you can return this to the hand, and then you can use its effect as target protection. As I mentioned before, the target protection isn't as important because we already have target protection from Barrier. But yeah, this is just the most basic one card combo in the deck. Gets you this board with targeting protection. It gives you an Omni Negate, and it gets you Sauravis on the field as a Solemn Warning, and then you still have 4 other cards in hand, plus you search a follow-up, and then you also have the Sauravis in hand as another form of follow-up as well. Now, the Dino Mondo play, let's get back to this. So, the reason you might not want to do the Dino Mondo play is because this plays really, really hard into effects like Call by the Grave and Bestials. And that Call by the Grave and especially Bestials is one of the weaknesses that this deck has. So it's very vulnerable to those. And as you can see, if you get your target for Dino Mondo Called by or Bestial, such as the Skull Guardian, then you actually just don't end on anything. So that's a risk that you have to take when you're doing the Dino Mondo play. Whereas if you just left these two on board, you wouldn't have the Radiance to summon the Sauravis, but you wouldn't be playing into a Call by the Grave, for example, which is very common. Most decks in Master Duel run Call by the Grave. It's a card that TCG doesn't have to worry about as much. It's not as common there, but in Master Duel, definitely there is merit to not doing the Dino Mondo play and playing around Call by the Grave completely. But yeah, that's the basic one card combo. So let's get into another one. So the other one card combo is Diviner of the Herald, and this deck uses Diviner in a completely different way from how most decks use Diviner. So what you're gonna send with Diviner is Trias Hierarchia, and then Trias Hierarchia, when it's in the grave or in your hand, you can tribute a fairy monster and then special summon it, up to 3. But we only control 1 in this example right now, the one Diviner for the one card combo. So you're gonna use Trias to tribute the Herald, special summon itself, and then Herald has the other effect. So this is the effect that nobody knew about Herald until exactly Voiceless Voice came out, because this is the only deck that really takes advantage of this. But if the Diviner of the Herald is tributed, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck, except Diviner. So you already know what we're summoning, right? We're summoning low, because this is a level 1 fairy monster, and then we're gonna trigger low, and then you're gonna add the barrier, or you're gonna set place the barrier, and then the rest is the exact same as the one card combo for low. So you're gonna add Saffira, and then dump Saffira, send the prayer, and then add Skull Guardian, and then use Saffira Engrave to ritual the Skull Guardian, using the Saffira, or not using the Saffira, using the low, and then summon back the low, and then Skull Guardian, add whatever you want. You can add a Sauravis for additional protection, or you can add a Saffira for follow-up, and then low summon itself back. And again, you can leave it as this, or you could link into a Dynamundo. And then during your opponent's turn, draw phase, you can use Dynamundo, bring back the Skull Guardian, and that's going to bring back the low, and then low will place the Radiance, and now Radiance you have a, and now you have the same board as the other 1-card combo with Radiance plus Skull Guardian. You just have an extra Trias Hierarchia on the field, which for right now it's just an extra body on the field, but in the later combos you'll see for 2-card combos, you actually Trias actually lets you do more plays just because it's an extra body. But right now, if they don't get rid of the Trias, it's a level 9 body with 2900 defense, and it's a level 1 plus 9 gives you easy Chaos Angel access, funnily enough. So yeah, that's like the most common way you can go into Chaos Angel with this deck. And you, if you do so, this is very uncommon, but you do get the light Chaos Angel effect instead of the dark. So your synchro monsters like Chaos Angel will be unaffected by your opponent's monster effect, which I think it's better than the dark only Chaos Angel. Because dark only Chaos Angel just gets outed by anything because lull battle phase. But with when it's light, they can only kill Chaos Angel by battle, and that is can keep you alive and like offers better protection because they have to waste the battle phase to get rid of the Chaos Angel. So yeah, that's of note. But yeah, this is the 1-card combos are really simple. Again, they're so simple, a baby can do them. So let's get into some more interesting combos. So this isn't so much of a set combo, it's more like a neat interaction you can keep in mind when you do your combos, but you have an extra spell card that you use. For example, it could be like anything. It could be like a pod, it could be a Nadir Servant you're playing that, it could be like, for example, this 1-for-1, right? And you'll do your combo normally, right? So I'll use the 1-for-1, and obviously we're getting low. And then low will place the barrier, and then barrier will add Saffira, and then you'll do this Saffira, dump the ritual spell, and then add Skull Guardian, you know, standard stuff. And then you use the Saffira to tribute the ritual summon the Skull Guardian, tributing the low, and then get back low, and then trigger Skull Guardian. And here, because you have an extra spell that you just randomly have engraved, it doesn't even have to be engraved. It could be just like a random blank card in hand if you want, and you don't mind just like going a little minus in your combo. You can use Skull Guardian to add the Sauravis Dragon Sage, the effect monster, directly to your hand. And then obviously low will summon itself back. And here you can do this because you have that one extra spell engraved. Sauravis' summoning condition is you can special summon this by shuffling 2 spells from your hand or graveyard into the deck, including a ritual spell. If you just started normally with just low and the low 1-card combo, for example, then you all you would have is Prayers of the Voice in the Grave. So you wouldn't be able to summon this by just what's in the grave. You might have to like shuffle back a card in your hand to summon Sauravis, which, you know, it's not ideal. But because you have a spell, you activate another spell this turn, you can just special summon Sauravis directly by shuffling back the spell and the prayer. And now you start with this on the field. You don't have to use your Radiance to get the Sauravis. It's just on your field directly. And then obviously you can go for Dynamundo with these two. And then pass to your opponent's turn. And on your opponent's turn, So you're gonna Dino Mondo, bring back the Skull Guardian, and then the Skull Guardian comes back, the Low comes back, and then Low will place the trap card if we didn't already draw it. But yeah, this is where you would place the trap card. And then, yeah, pretend we have the trap card now. And your opponent activates an effect, so we already have the Sauravis directly on the field to begin with, so we can just use it directly and then summon the Sauravis Ritual from deck. And that's how you get an extra interruption out of all this. So now you have the Skull Guardian, Omni Negate, but you have Radiance, which you didn't use the Radiance to get the Sauravis on the board because you already started with the Sauravis already, so that means you can use the Radiance other effect as an interruption. You can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual monsters you control, and then destroy that many cards. So because now we control right now Sauravis and Skull Guardian, you can pop up to 2 cards with Radiance as well, on top of having the Sauravis in the field too. So by having an extra spell in your combo, you can begin your turn with Sauravis on the field already, and then that gets you an interruption in a lot of your hands too. So now let's get into the 2-card combos, and this is probably going to be the most common combo you do in this deck, since this is just almost any 2 engine pieces. So what the requirements for this are: you need access to Low, and you basically need access to Skull Guardian. And as we know, there's like 20 ways to search both these cards. You know, there's Low, there's if you can open the continuous spell, if you open Barrier, that also works. And then Skull Guardian, there's even more ways to search Skull Guardian. You see here, we already have a way to search Skull Guardian in Saffira, but I won't even like use this Saffira as part of the combo because we already have the Skull Guardian. So yeah, this 2-card combo to begin with, you'll use your Low, and if you don't have Barrier already, you will add Barrier. And with Barrier, you're going to use to not add a Saffira, you're going to add Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. So, and then you're going to play Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. And now, you're going to link off, assuming you just have Low plus Skull Guardian, you're going to link off the Low into a Linkuriboh, or you could do an Almaraz as well, but obviously Linkuriboh has more use in Grave. And then you're going to use Blessing of the Voiceless Voice effect. So Blessing has a effect where you can target one of your Voiceless Voice cards that's banished in your graveyard and add to hand, so it has recycling. But in this case, we're going to use it to add the Low back to our hand, because we need the Low back as a ritual material. And then you're going to link off the Linkuriboh into Secure Guard now. So Blessings has another effect where if a non-ritual monster is normal or special summoned, you can ritual summon a light monster. Basically, you can, whenever a monster is summoned, you can use Blessings to ritual summon. That way, you're not relying on Saffira. If you don't happen to open Saffira, and you know, it's still fine. You still have a way to ritual summon because of Blessing. So you're going to use Blessing to ritual summon the Skull Guardian, and you're going to use the Low that we just added back to the hand off that same Blessing. So there's the synergy there. You use both Blessings effects to perform to get the ritual material and perform the ritual summon. And now you get the summon the Skull Guardian. Now you get Low and Skull Guardian. And if you didn't start with Saffira, here's where you would add Saffira. And then summon back the Low, obviously. And then you'll use the Saffira, you add it, and you can go 2 separate ways. You can send Prayer, obviously, and then you can search either Pendulumgraph Magician or Sauravis. So I'll show you the lines for both of these. The combo changes slightly depending on which of these you go for, so I'll show you both methods. But here, let's do the Sauravis first. And this is your end board. This is what you end on right now, and then you can pass your turn. And then wait for your opponent to summon a monster, because this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And they probably have to summon a monster in order to play the game. So, yeah, we're gonna negate the card destruction right there. No funny business here. don't want a chain link 5 in a combo tutorial, but yeah. Okay, Mothman. Yeah, summons Brow, and they summon a monster, so now Blessing can trigger again. You can ritual summon using the Blessing, and we're gonna ritual summon the Sauravis that we added last turn using the low. That's the full tribute. You summon the Sauravis, and now because because Sauravis was ritual summoned, now you can summon back the low, and because this is a new turn, low can now place the trap from her deck. And now you have the Omni Negate from Skull Guardian, which we already used. We have the Sauravis summon negation, and we have Radiance, which we can use as a pop. You can target monsters equal to light ritual monsters. In this case, we have 2, so we can pop up to 2 cards with Radiance. And then don't worry about this being like sent to the grave for this effect, because during the next turn, Blessing can just add back the Radiance as follow-up. And obviously this is all targeting your protection from targeting and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is the most standard 2-card combo, the combo that you'll probably be doing most often. So get used to being able to do something like this. It's like 3 interruptions plus follow-up plus all that good stuff. Okay, and now we're back. The same 2-card combo, same setup. Only difference is instead of adding Sauravis off Skull Guardian, we added Odd-Eyes Pendulumgraph Dragon, and you will play this out a bit differently than if you would Sauravis. So let's go to our opponent's turn, and wait it out, let them spend an action. So there's the Danger Mothman. So they're gonna, as soon as they summon a monster, so there goes the Danger Mothman. Now we can trigger Blessing of the Voiceless. So now you're going to Jesus, you're gonna ritual summon the Pendulumgraph Dragon using the low as the entire tribute. Okay, so here comes the Pendulumgraph, and now that's gonna trigger low to summon itself back, and now low will place the trap. And now because we didn't access Sauravis already, we can use the Radiance of the Voiceless Voice to shuffle back the Prayer of the Voiceless, and now special summon the Sauravis directly from deck. And now when your opponent activates another effect, come on Danger AI. Yeah, activate an effect, you can bounce back to Sauravis, and now you can summon the other Sauravis from deck. So yeah, now if you did the play with the Pendulumgraph Dragon, instead of ending on Skull Guardian Sauravis plus the Radiance as a pop, instead you use Radiance to get the Sauravis from deck, and now you have Skull Guardian plus the Odd-Eyes Pendulumgraph, which Odd-Eyes Pendulumgraph is a spell card negate. And I'll see if let's see if the opponent actually uses a spell card or not. Yeah, here comes the. This may take a while, but basically when they negate when they activate a spell, you can negate the spell with Pendulumgraph Dragon, and then you can place the Pendulumgraph Dragon in the Pendulum Zone, and then you can special summon an Odd-Eyes monster from your extra deck. Which this is optional, but I do run Odd-Eyes Meteor Burst so that after you negate with Pendulumgraph Dragon, you get a free body out with this. It's because the extra deck tends to not be too tight in this deck, so I do think you might have room as a 15 extra deck slot just to add in a Meteor Burst Dragon as something to special off the Pendulumgraph Dragon if you so desire, and if you run the Pendulumgraph. But yeah, this is the Pendulumgraph Dragon 2-card combo, and the compare that to with the Sauravis 2-card combo and see which one you like doing. Obviously, this is optional. You don't have to run the Pendulumgraph. You can just run 2 Sauravis instead, and then you don't have to worry about this. But yeah. So this is probably the highest ceiling Wombo combo the deck can do. It's a 2-card combo, although it's a bit more specific of a 2-card combo. It's not just any 2 engine cards, basically. It's specifically Diviner of the Herald plus either Saffira or Barrier. Barrier is ideal, but you can do this same entire combo with just Saffira. It's just you won't have a Barrier on the field, which it's fine. If you see the end board at the end of this, you'll be fine anyways. But yeah, I did not come up with this combo. Okay, all credits to Prophecy Wiz. Prophecy Wiz was the one that showcased this combo first. So if you are interested in Voiceless Voice at all, please go sub to his channel and watch all his Voiceless Voice videos. He does much better content on Voiceless Voice videos than I personally can. So I learned a lot from his videos. But yeah, so you're gonna begin with either your Saffira or your Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. So we're gonna use a Barrier because we opened it, and we're gonna use Barrier to search your Saffira, and then the Saffira you're gonna pitch, sending your prayer, and then you're going to add Sauravis directly first. Now that we add Sauravis directly, now our Herald is protected from targeting hand traps, such as stuff like Veiler or Imperm and stuff like that. So you're gonna normal summon Diviner, and you're gonna send Trias Hierarchia. Okay, since we already do this, I'm just gonna pretend we just sent Trias Hierarchia instead of drawing it. Okay, and now we'll tribute the Diviner with the Trias, and then special summon trigger Diviner, and we'll special summon Low from deck. And then Low, very importantly now, Low is going to place the Radiance, the trap card. Okay, and remember when I said about how Trias Hierarchia, the extra body actually does come up in some 2-card combos? Well, this is one of those 2-card combos. You're gonna link summon in my Christian Voiceless Voice deck. You're gonna link summon Low and Trias Hierarchia into an IP Masquerena. And now you will use the Radiance to shuffle back the prayer and add your Skull Guardian. And now you're going to use the Saffira Engrave to ritual summon the Skull Guardian by using the Sauravis that we searched initially. Okay, the Sauravis was just to protect from stuff like Imperm and Veiler and stuff like that. So now you summon the Skull Guardian, and Skull Guardian will now trigger to summon back the Low, and then you'll also use Skull Guardian effect, and you will add the Odd Eyes Pendulumgraph Magician. This is one of the lines that you actually need the Pendulumgraph Magician for. So yeah, summon back the Low, and then we'll pass to our opponent's turn. And we're not supposed to have Blessing yet, so we're gonna actually access Blessing during our opponent's turn. So pretend that you'll see. But yeah, even if you didn't hard draw Blessing, it's fine. You're not supposed to hard draw this. You're supposed to actually access this from the deck. So we actually drew like 3 cards that we were supposed to search during the combo, but even so, it's fine. So go to your opponent's turn. Okay, and just wait for them to use any action. So now, let's say they used a relevant card, so we'll negate it with a Skull Guardian. Then we'll use Radiance, and we'll shuffle back the Sauravis that's in grave, and we will special summon a second Low from deck. Okay, and yeah, after that's negated, and then the second Low will place the Blessing. Okay, and now that the Blessing is placed, you can use IP Masquerena. So you can have a few options. You can IP Masquerena into SP Little Knight, the classic. You can IP Masquerena into Underworld Goddess if you run that, which I do. But also you can do the classic and use IP Masquerena to go into Appaloosa. So you're gonna link using IP, one of the Lows plus the Skull Guardian, because we already you do this after you use the Skull Guardian's effect, so you still get the Skull Guardian Omni Negate off, and now you link all of these into an Appaloosa on your opponent's turn. Okay, so this is very involved on your opponent's turn. And now, because we summoned a non-ritual monster, now we can trigger the blessing that we just placed off of the low earlier, and you can use this to ritual summon the Odd-Eyes Pendulumgraph Magician, and use this to use the other low as the full tribute. So summon the Pendulumgraph Magician, or Pendulumgraph Dragon. What am I saying? Dragon, not Magician, and then summon back the low. Okay. So now, after all that, you had the one Omni Negate with Skull Guardian, and now you IP'd into an Appaloosa that has 3 more monster negates, or this could be an SP or whatever you wanted to, like on your opponent's monster, that also works. And now you also have a Spell Trap Negate off of the Pendulumgraph Magician. So like that's like a shit ton of interruptions, probably the most interruptions you'll ever get with this deck, and it's all thanks to Diviner of the Herald summoning getting Trias Hierarchia, and Trias Hierarchia being an extra body we needed to go into an IP to facilitate this entire line of play. So yeah, like I mean, I guess if you want to count, 3 monster negates, Omni negate, Spell Trap negate, all that good stuff, like negate, and everything is protected because we have a barrier and a blessing. Actually, let's see if we can coax the AI into using a spell card. Okay, no. Nice miss on the danger, AI. Come on, bro. These nice dangers. Yeah, danger. Oh, finally hit one. Tribute summon Bigfoot. Okay. Yeah, nice. Alright. As you can see, there's nothing the AI can do against this board, apparently, so there you go. If I was trying to get him to use a spell so I can negate with Pendulumgraph Dragon, so that I could summon a Meteor Burst from deck, and I could show you that line, and then you can add this back if it's Pendulum effect, but that's just even more follow-up that it's usually not needed because this board's already good enough. Oh, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but for those wondering why the Pendulumgraph Dragon no die, it's because Blessing, the monster that you ritual summon off of Blessing cannot be destroyed by battle that turn. So yeah, just even more protection. You're forced to attack this You're forced to attack this ritual monster, and you can't even kill it by battle. So your Appaloosa this entire time is protected. So you get the full value out of your Appaloosa every single time if you go for this. So this is a sample example Voiceless Voice deck list, and for the most part, especially the main deck, the ratios are pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. It's mainly the non-engine and or supplementary engines that you run that are up for debate. So the obvious stuff is like 3 low, 3 diviner, like that's pretty obvious. 3 Saffira, all obvious. 1 Sauravis, 1 Hierarchia for the diviner. Generally, people run 4 rituals is the ratio, 2 Skull Guardian, and then people either run 2 Sauravis or they run 1 Pendulumgraph plus 1 Sauravis. I'm running the 1 Pendulumgraph and the 1 Sauravis as like a versatility, and for like as you saw with the combo, and Pendulumgraph gives you another negate as a spell trap, as a spell negate. So if you know what you're playing against and you think spell negates are going to be good, then you can go for the Pendulumgraph. And then the difference is that the people that run 2 Sauravis and 1 and no Pendulumgraph is that Sauravis is actually a decent card just to hard draw. It's targeting protection, which I know this deck's end board always ends on targeting protection anyways, but drawing Sauravis early lets you play around hand traps too, like stuff like Imperm and Valor, and it also like drawing it. There's other like niche interactions or niche things that Sauravis is good against, like Promethean Princess, stuff like that. Whereas Odd-Eyes Pendulumgraph, if you draw this card basically does nothing. It's just an engine requirement. It doesn't provide any utility when you draw it other than for ritual summoning it. So Sauravis is a better card to hard draw, but Pendulumgraph gives you versatility in your end boards and stuff like that. So you can decide whether you want to run 2 Sauravis or 1 Sauravis, 1 Pendulumgraph. It's up to you. one for one, so it's another way to get low, and one for one being a spell card enables Sauravis Dragon Sage plays, as you saw in one of the combos. Triple prep, pre-prep. I mean, some people don't want to run 3 of this. Not sure why. This card's like, I mean, this card's kind of broken. I don't know. It's pretty good for ritual deck. I don't know. It adds your Skull Guardian. I know it doesn't add your best cards like Saffira or Low, but I mean, Skull Guardian is required for every combo you do. So I mean, it's just a better way to add Skull Guardian than hard drawing it. And then 2 pots. So I'm deciding to running the pots as additional consistency for this deck, since as you can tell, this extra deck, most of this extra deck doesn't matter. Majority of time you don't even really go into it. There's only like a few select cards that you even go into regularly. So yeah, the pots are pretty good. You could run board breakers instead of ant traps just to facilitate the pots better. You know, for example, you could run into droplets so that when you pot on when you go second, you can draw into board breakers instead of more hand traps. That's another idea. 2 prayers. This is you just need 2. It's standard ratio. 1's not enough, because if you hard draw it, then it's, you know, then all of your combos are offline. But it's not a 3 of. You don't actually use this card that often as an actual card. Like you don't often ritual summon with prayers. Again, this is the more of an engine requirement than anything. Although of note, it has another effect too, where if you leave it in the grave, if a face-up blight ritual monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can banish it and then special summon 1 Sauravis or Saffira or Skull Guardian from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So it has the very annoying floating effect that some people might miss out on because they don't see it come up that often. They just see it as like thrown into the grave and shuffled back for card effects. But this does have a floating effect too, which you know, can get you your engine going if your opponent disrupts you again. So yeah, that's important to know. And then barrier, this card makes all of your monsters non-targetable, and then it's a starter too, and it's one of the few cards that also add low directly as well. So yeah, you need 3 of this. Only 1 of each of the other continuous spell traps, 1 blessing and 1 radiance for the various combo lines that you saw. And yeah, then it's just non-engine, Maxi, Ash, and Callby. Callby, not just for Maxi, but Callby is really actually just quite good in this format. Especially as you saw, you know, the Dino Mondo line. People go Dino Mondo and then you Callby the Dino Mondo. It's devastating. And then obviously this is great against Zubel and great against Fire King, Snake Eyes going first or going second. So there, and then I ran a couple Bitch Shields. I don't know how Bitch Shields, again, they're not good against the best deck in the thing, which is Fire King Snake Eyes, but there's a ton of decks that gain popularity that have been weak to Bitch Shields now. Now Voiceless Voice is another one, but there was U-Bells, there's yes. I think this is worth testing to see if the Bitch Shields are worth running or not. And then, you know, in perm, stuff like that. Extra deck, so the extra deck is a lot of BS, I'm gonna be honest. This is half of these are just for extravagance ratios than anything. Herald, theoretically, if you hard draw Trias, you can send Herald Diviner, but I mean, this you really ever do that. Meteor Burst is just to summon off of the Pendulumgraph after you negate something. Again, not necessary, because it's not like the Meteor Burst really does that much after you summon it. It's just a free body. Chaos Angel, you make this with a level 9 Hierarchia plus level 1 Low. Also not too common, but probably more common than these two. Typhon, absolutely terrible against Voiceless Voice, so don't expect this to get any value in this matchup. And then these are the cards that you actually do need. So you saw in the combos, you need Link Karibo and then Secure Gardna. You need that for like a lot of the 2-card combos. So I'm running Link Karibo and Almarch, because both of these can turn into Secure Gardna and then 2 Secure Gardna, just so I don't accidentally banish both of them off of the Extravagance. And then I have 2 IP Masquerena. This is not necessary. I'm just doing this because I didn't dismantle my non-altered IP, so you know, if I didn't dismantle it, I might as well get some use out of it, other than just like collecting dust in my box. I literally have not used this since I've gotten the altered IP, but Yeah, it's 2, so you don't banish both. Dino Mondo, same reason for 2 of this, and then the SP Appaloosa and Underworld Goddess. It's funny how these all got sorted together, but yeah, these are just generic utility, but mainly these 2 are the cards that you can go into off of IP. You can also go into SP off of IP as well. So yeah. As for other options you can run this deck, something that's been talked about a lot is the Nadir Servant package. Now, Nadir Servant is really good because it gets you Maximus, and then that's where Herald actually does come in, because you can probably send Herald off of the Maximus, and then you can send Garura and Bucephalus to send the Garura to draw a card. It's also acts as removal, which sometimes this deck has problem playing into boards, whereas Nadir Servant is actually really good at playing into boards, dumping Intis to break the boards, and then Maximus. You can have other options besides just Intis. You can also send like an Master Packbit, which is this new card from the new pack, where you can it's removal that places a monster in the spell and trap zone. So like, it's basically a subversion target. It's basically turns your Nadir Servant or Maximus into a Snake Eye Subversion, which is probably the most effective form of removal, other than the fact that it targets. So if you want there are other options for Nadir Servant as well. And obviously this is really good. The issue I have with Nadir Servant is that I don't know how popular Nadir Servant is. And if this package is very popular, then playing Maximus it can be disastrous. Like, imagine summoning Maximus and like letting your opponent go +2 on you because you just let them send their own Nadir Servant package to the grave for free. It can be very risky if this package ends up being popular. So I'll let the dust settle for a bit and see how popular this actually is before deciding whether to run Nadir Servant and Maximus. Also, Maximus is not actually that much of a brick, because as long as you open low or like a way to low, you can always just go Linkuriboh or Almirage into Secure Gardener, and that puts the Linkuriboh or the Almirage in grave, and that gets you a banish, something to banish for the Maximus. So even if you just draw Maximus without the Nadir Servant, you can still have a way to make the Maximus live. So yeah, this package is definitely something worth considering. But I also don't want to get owned by it in the mirror match. So yeah, I hope you found the combos and the explanations useful. And if you have any more questions, just feel free to leave a comment. I read every single comment on every one of my videos, so I'll be sure to see yours if you have one. Thank you.